Ever wondered what court cases are happening right in your neighborhood? Well, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unlocking a literal superpower that you might not even realize you have, the ability to seamlessly access public records right in your own community. Whether you're a legal professional, a deep-diving researcher, or honestly just an informed citizen living in Albany County, understanding how to navigate your local court system is an incredibly empowering skill. Finding court cases is absolutely crucial for so many reasons. You might be running a background check, conducting some intense legal research, or perhaps you just want to stay up to date on local matters that directly impact your community. Whatever your motivation is, this explainer is going to equip you with literally everything you need to know to look up court records efficiently and, most importantly, confidently. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today. We'll start with a welcome to Albany County, then get to know your court system. After that, we're searching New York records, followed by searching Wyoming records. Then we'll hit some common pitfalls and pro tips, and wrap it all up with the recap and legal disclaimer. Section 1. Welcome to Albany County, a tale of two jurisdictions. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that before you even type a single name into a search bar, you have to clear a major hurdle. You have to make sure you're looking in the right state. You would be amazed by how much beginner frustration comes from confusing Albany County, New York, which is in the 3rd Judicial District, with Albany County, Wyoming, located in the 2nd Judicial District. While they share a name, they operate under completely separate constitutional and statutory frameworks. You have to know exactly which one you need. Section 2. Know your court system. Navigating the legal tiers. Okay, so finding judicial records really requires understanding how each state divides its legal cases based on the type of dispute and, well, the amount of money involved. Looking at New York, the Supreme Court handles high-value civil litigation and felonies. Then the county court handles limited civil claims up to $25,000 plus felony prosecutions. New York also has these highly specialized courts, like the Surrogates Court for probate and Family Court for domestic matters, plus a huge network of local city, town, and village courts. Now jump over to Wyoming, and the system is much more consolidated. Wyoming bundles family and probate into the district court, which also handles felonies and civil cases over $50,000. For civil claims up to $50,000, small claims up to $6,000, and misdemeanors, you'll look to the circuit court. Wyoming also has specific municipal courts for city ordinance violations in places like Laramie and Rock River. Section 3. Searching New York records. Digital and physical pathways in NY. Let's focus on New York's 3rd Judicial District for a minute. For civil cases filed in the Albany County Supreme Court, your best friend is the New York State Court's electronic filing application, commonly known as NYSEF. And the really great news here, even if you aren't an attorney, you can just select the Search as Guest feature. Boom, you're in. From there, you can query public cases using a full case or index number, a party name, or an attorney's name. Doing property research, you can actually search tax retorio and small claims assessment review cases by inputting the municipal block and lot numbers. It is a fantastic, completely free remote tool for civil e-filed cases. But what about criminal records in New York? Well, while you can track active pending criminal matters for free using a portal called WebCrims, getting an official statewide criminal history background check comes with a very specific price tag, exactly $95. You submit this request through the OCA Direct Access application. Keep that $95 figure in mind if you are conducting formal background checks. Of course, not everything is online, right? Sometimes you need a historical record or maybe a certified copy for evidence. For that, you need to visit the Albany County Clerk, physically located at the County Courthouse at 16 Eagle Street, room 128, right in downtown Albany. Now pay close attention to this part. You must arrive between 8:30 a.m. and 4 p.m. They absolutely do not allow walk-ins after 4 o'clock, so don't even try it. And crucially, the walk-in window does not accept credit cards. In local government, cash is still king. You gotta bring cash, a check, or a money order made payable to the Albany County Clerk. When you go, you definitely need to budget accordingly because these costs are strictly mandated by the state. If the clerk has to search for a record for you, that's a $5 manual search fee per name for every 2-year block searched. Standard photocopies? Those are 65 cents a page. If you need it certified with a raised seal for legal purposes, it jumps to $1.25 per page with a $5 minimum. Need a certificate of disposition to prove how a case ended? That'll be $5. Knowing all this ahead of time prevents a lot of headaches at the counter. Section 4. Searching Wyoming Records, the Rocky Mountain Approach. Pivoting out west to the 2nd Judicial District, we see a brilliant contrast in how records are managed, and this brilliantly illustrates how Wyoming relies heavily on centralized portals like Court Case Finder, or specific portals like the Laramie Municipal Court online case search for local tickets. However, for full trial-level civil and criminal records, Wyoming doesn't really offer the same level of unrestricted remote viewing as New York. Instead, they rely heavily on free public pass terminals located physically right at the courthouse, or written requests mailed directly to the clerk with a self-addressed stamped envelope. So if you're out in Wyoming, you're likely heading to 525 Grand Avenue in Laramie. Let's say you're looking up an eviction, or maybe a $6,000 small claim. You'd march right up to room 400 for the circuit court. But if you need to research a felony trial or a major civil lawsuit over $50,000, you'll head over to Suite 202 for the district court. Once you're there, you can hop on one of those free public terminals or just request a name check directly from the clerk. Just like New York, Wyoming has its own specific statutory fee structure. The big one to remember here is the universal $10 flat fee per name searched. That applies whether you're in circuit or district court. For copies, the circuit court charges $1 per page. The district court charges $1 for the first page and then 50 cents for each additional page after that. And please remember, if you're doing this by mail, you absolutely must include your payment and a stamped return envelope, or your request just won't be processed. Section 5. Pitfalls and Pro Tips. Overcoming Research Obstacles. So the crucial point here is, you aren't going to find everything. State laws strictly protect sensitive family and juvenile records from public portals. A perfect example is New York matrimonial or divorce records. These are sealed by state law and are strictly accessible only to the parties involved or their attorneys. The absolute most a third party can get is a $5 certificate of disposition that basically just confirms a divorce happened without revealing any of the juicy settlement details. The exact same confidentiality applies to juvenile and family court matters in both states. Now here is a massive beginner pitfall in New York. People constantly try to use a Freedom of Information law or FOIL request to bypass standard court copy fees to get records for just 25 cents a page. Guys, it doesn't work. Court records are governed by the New York judiciary law, which completely overrides FOIL rules in this context. You just cannot use FOIL to avoid paying the statutory $5 search fee or the standard copy fees to the county clerk. But what happens if the clerk simply doesn't have the paperwork? Well, here are some major pro tips for utilizing secondary sources and historical archives. In New York, if you need historical files from before 1919, you need to hit up the Albany County Hall of Records, or ACOR. Looking for wills dating all the way back to 1787, you've got to visit the New York Surrogates Court. Out in Wyoming, if the main courthouse is totally packed, check the state law library for additional pass or terminal access. And remember, for federal issues like bankruptcies or federal crimes in either state, you won't find those at the county level at all. You have to use the federal PACER system online. Section 6. Recap and legal disclaimer. Wrapping up your search. Let's quickly recap this journey. Your first, absolutely most important step is always confirming if you're dealing with Albany County, New York, or Albany County, Wyoming. For New York, use NYCEF for remote civil searches and WebCrims for remote criminal tracking. For Wyoming, rely on those courthouse pass terminals for trial records. Whenever you visit in person or send a mail request, preparation is honestly your secret to success. Bring the exact precise payment format required, usually cash or check, and always provide a stamped envelope for mail. And finally, save yourself some serious time by respecting sealed records and knowing which specialized courts hold which files. Now, before we finish up today, I really must deliver this mandatory disclaimer. This explainer is strictly for informational and educational purposes only. It is designed to empower you with solid research skills, but it absolutely does not replace a qualified attorney. It is not professional legal advice. If you are dealing with a specific legal issue, you should always consult a licensed legal professional. And that brings us to the end. You now have the complete blueprint to navigate two entirely different judicial systems that just happen to share the exact same name. You know the websites, the addresses, the fees, and all the common pitfalls. So I'll leave you with this. What public records will you uncover in your community today? The information is out there waiting for you, so get out there and start exploring. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer.